We've got breaking news on Jaire Alexander for you guys today on the Packers Report. I'm your host, Joey Petersen, and Ian Rapoport just sent out this tweet about 30 minutes ago, saying the Packers have had trade conversations centered around cornerback Jaire Alexander, and they're open to moving him for the right price. Alexander, just still 28 and a two-time Pro Bowler, is considered to be the most decorated cornerback available. And the end of that statement, the end of that tweet is sure true, and that's why I think the Green Bay Packers might actually be able to get something decent in return for Jaire Alexander. Welcome into the show. We'll dive into that all in just a little bit, but before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we are only 25 subs away from 1.5 thousand subscribers. It's been an amazing last month, giving you guys daily videos on your favorite team. I've loved doing it. Hopefully you guys have loved the content as well for daily videos every single day on the Green Bay Packers. Breaking news, rumors, anything you can want, you can find it right here on the Packers Report. So make sure if you haven't already, hit that sub button, help us get to 1.5 thousand. And my initial thought and initial reaction to this is, we all knew this was coming, okay? What seemed to be rumors towards the end of the season quickly turned into kind of news from Rob Demovsky. We'll look at his quote in just a little bit, but it just seemed to become more real the further you got removed from the end of the 2024 NFL season. And then you kind of look at the contract more and more, and you look at the injury history, and you're kind of like, okay, this seems like a no-brainer. But I want to walk you through this past year, which I think was probably the breaking point for Jaire Alexander with Green Bay, and also Green Bay with Jaire Alexander. Okay, so October 27th, he injured his knee against Jacksonville. This would be the second season in a row that he had a pretty big injury. December 15th, he practiced a full week, was expected to play in the game against Seattle, and then was ruled out on Friday. Just 2 weeks after that, he had arthroscopic knee surgery, which if you don't know what arthroscopic means, it just means small. At least I think so. I don't know. I'm not a doctor either. And then on January 13th, locker room cleanout, just a day or two removed from the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, he said, you know what? I don't have anything good to say, so I'm not going to say anything, okay? And from that point on, from January 13th all the way to now, it seems like the writing has been on the wall. It seems like Jaire Alexander realized in that moment that he probably wasn't going to be back in a green and gold uniform. And I think also the Packers probably realized in that moment, you know what? This doesn't seem like a guy that wants to be here. This is a guy that can't get on the field. And his attitude right now seems like a guy who doesn't really want to get on the field. And so in my opinion, January 13th is when this whole thing went down. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your one-word reaction to the Jaire Alexander news? It could be shocked. It could be surprised. Mine is probably going to be like, I kind of saw it coming. Let me know in the comment section down below. I mentioned Rob Demovsky's quote from earlier. Here it is. There are strong indications that Alexander's time with the Packers will end without him playing another down. Multiple team sources have privately expressed their frustration with Alexander's inability to stay healthy and or play through injuries. And if you need another reason to sub the channel, we talked about that last week from the ESPN report, 7 days before Ian Rapoport tweeted it out. Okay, so we got you news every single day. And the end of that quote is the most important thing. His lack of ability to play through injuries. It seems that Green Bay has seen a lot of the injuries that he's gone through, 2021, 2022, and 2023 namely, as first off, problems because he keeps getting injured. But second off, it seems that they believe he could have played through those injuries. And I think they want a guy that they're going to pay $16 million to be tough enough, to have the wherewithal, to have the desire to play through said injuries, okay? But even if he's not, in the last 4 years, he's had one season where he's played more than 7 games. 4 games played in 2021, 16 in 2022. That's great. That's fantastic. But only 7 games in both 2023 and 2024. When you're paying a guy that much money and he's not getting out on the field and you think other teams might be interested, then sure, see what you can get from him. And I do think there will still be some teams that are seeking Jaire Alexander, that will seek out Jaire Alexander. I got 3 teams to talk about, namely. Okay, number one, for teams I believe will be interested is the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, Jaire Alexander and Lamar Jackson played college football together. Okay, Baltimore's in need of a cornerback. They don't have a ton of money, so it'd probably have to be a restructured deal, but I think they're a team that's incredibly interested. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh as well. I think Pittsburgh showed some warts in the postseason and late in the last season that their secondary wasn't all that people cracked it up to be. And I think they've got a good bit of money, and Jaire Alexander could be a great piece for Mike Tomlin in that defense. However, even though I do believe that there are some teams that are interested, I do think that Green Bay might just end up having to cut him. Okay, and in my opinion, to be a post-June 1st designation, they save a little bit more in cap space if they do that. But, it's just like he's so much money. And you got to wonder, will teams even be willing to take on that contract? Okay, because if you do trade for Jaire Alexander, and if you do it pre-March 15th, which is only, 3 days after free agency actually begins, he's a $16.15 million cap hit. If you do it post-March 15th, he's a $25.48 million cap hit. Okay, and so trading for Jaire Alexander, while you get a great player, you are taking on risk in the fact that he hasn't played a lot, and you're paying a lot of money for that risk. And if teams believe he's just going to get cut, and they don't have to give up assets to get him, and then they have to pay him less than that $16.15 million, then, why not wait? Okay? Take a guess for me in the comment section down below. What will the Packers do with Alexander? Will they trade him? Will they cut him? If you think it's trade, give me a T for trade. If you think it's cut, go ahead and give me a C. Let me know in the comment section down below. When you look at the current state of the cornerback room in Green Bay, with Jaire Alexander as the starting left side cornerback, Keyshawn Nixon as the right side cornerback, and Javon Bullard as that nickelback position, you kind of wonder what's going to happen if Jaire Alexander hits the exit door in Green Bay, okay? Can Keyshawn Nixon make the jump to cornerback one? I know he believes that he can, but if you look at all the backups, from Rochelle to Stokes to Ballantyne, all of those guys are unrestricted free agents. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done in this cornerback room to not only make sure that they've got starters that they're comfortable with, but even depth pieces, okay? And I think that the replacement for Jaire Alexander, I think that's something that comes in free agency, okay? I believe that there's some good corners you could also trade for, like a Denzel Ward, possibly once out of Cleveland after Myles Garrett's going to hit the exit door. But I don't think you're going to find quite the corners that you will at a bargain price, in my opinion, in free agency. Two guys we've talked about a ton on this channel, DJ Reed, Charvarius Ward, okay? Both of those guys you can get 3 years, $14.5 million. Now, Charvarius Ward has the upside in the fact that he's a lot younger. However, DJ Reed, in my opinion, has put together much more of an impressive resume because he's had 7 straight seasons, I believe, graded as 70 or higher when it comes to his coverage grade in PFF, okay? But he is getting a little bit older. So those are two guys that you'd have to talk about, you'd have to talk to, and kind of figure out what fits best for this team in that spot. But both those guys, I'd be really, really happy with, okay? And let's talk draft. There's 3 cornerbacks, in my opinion, that are worth round 1 selections: Jahdae Barron, Siobhan Revel Jr., Benjamin Morrison. However, I'd be surprised if both Siobhan and Benjamin were still available at pick 23. Jahdae Barron, he might be a reach at pick 23. He's a guy I kind of see going from 29 to 32, okay? And so both those guys, Siobhan and Benjamin, you might have to make a jump up for. Jahdae, you could trade back for him if you feel confident about him. And then Maxwell Hairston, I've seen mocks where he goes for a 3rd round. I'd be surprised if he makes it to the 3rd round. I think he's more of a 2nd-round talent. I've seen some having him go in the 1st. But those are the realistic secondary and cornerback targets that you could get in the draft that I believe could come in year 1 and make a massive difference to your team. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, trying to get you the latest on everything Green Bay Packers. If you haven't joined us yet, do so today.